everybody, Melissa Klein here, and I'm here to talk to you about noses and awkward family photos. First off, when you're drawing the nose, think about its placement on the face, and that it's essentially going to be in that middle third zone. And notice how it goes from the hairline to the eyebrows, under the nose, and then chin. So here is this fabulous photo that I found from one of my all-time favorite websites, Awkward Family Photos. If you ever need to pick me up, this is a great go-to. It's all the awkward things. Here's the rough sketches, and I'm not really going for full-on resemblances. I'm just trying to give some quick tips about how to draw the nose quickly and in a very kind of illustrative style. You could also say sometimes people use the word cartoony like as a derogatory, but actually in this case I have such a respect for cartoon artists. It's unbelievable, and comic book artists especially. They have to draw everything well, and they're telling a story with their pictures. So it's quite a sophisticated medium. Okay, I'm starting with the woman, and her face is turned a little bit to the side, and it's sort of a three-quarter profile. She has sort of a thin bridge to her nose, and so I'm reflecting that a little bit, and I'm just sketching in where the features are. It looks very generic at this point, and it will kind of continue to be. One thing you want to think about is like when you do your guidelines, then you can just kind of fade them out a little bit. I don't know why, but there's a certain magic with doing your guidelines and then fading it. And being really with the nose, like keep that line on the side of the nose pretty thin. If I was to make that the same weight as the outer part of her nose or the underneath her nose, generally under the nose is going to be a darker line than on the sides. So just even though those are just really subtle line changes, they make a big difference in just simply quickly, telling it with three lines essentially. I could have made the underside of her nose a little bit more curvy and a little bit thinner nostril. Now we're going on to Santa, and again thinking about the face placement. His head is slightly tilted down, and what that looks like. Poor Santa. He's just been exhausted by all these terrible people. I could have made the beard white, but it's just like, I just want placement, and we're really looking at the nose. Now, Santa has a shorter nose in proportion and a little bit rounder ball of the nose, and this is a really fun thing you can do, is like just almost put like a little clown nose a ball at the end of the nose, and it will make it look 3D. Thinking about the nostrils, are they thick or are they thin? There's a huge variety in individuals, even within the same family. My little sister has very thick nostrils. They're very clunky, unlike mine, which look, I have a nose that's like almost exactly like my little sister, but I have thinner nostrils, therefore, whatever. So this is what she gets for not taking my class. So at any rate, she's very beautiful too. So now I'm on to the guy, and he has a slightly kind of bulbous, like kind of almost like a ball at the end of his nose, and a very, paying attention to that shape that you make under the nose, and it's kind of almost like a Cupid's bow type thing. I'm going a little further here and trying to get his eyes and his face a little bit. He's quite a good character actually to draw. And granted, there's a lot of things I could have, made his chin a little bit squarer and all this kind of stuff. But I'm just trying to show you, this is how you quickly can draw something, especially if you are, have quite a few panels that you want to get through. Just using the line very, very simply. Now, the baby, oh my God, the baby I found to be very, very challenging, and it immediately wound up looking like a pig. Now, I generally think most babies are kind of ugly, but I was not really actually trying to make that baby into a pig. But these things happen, and that's why we have like the miracle of erasing things, whether digitally or starting over with new paper. Now, the baby's nose, you see the nostrils. It really does kind of have a little bit of a pig nose to it. where so it's you're seeing right into the nostrils, but it's not quite a pig, but it's kind of a pig. And so again, very, very lightly suggesting the underside, that kind of turning point, and trying to find the corner of the nose. This is a very quick tutorial just to give you some quick tips rather than going really into depth about, drawing a beautifully anatomically correct nose. Okay, so it might take a few tries, and I've very rarely drawn babies, and babies are challenging. The other thing you can see here is, notice again, here I started talking about the placement, but because this is a baby, the proportions are slightly different, and I've got way too much distance between the eyes and the bottom of the nose. Like, I just want to take that and just, now I'm kind of, but now I'm looking a little bit more at the face shape a little bit. So, and it's actually kind of working as a baby. But if, I should really, I think I do try this one again. Yeah, I'm seeing that right there, and I'm just like erasing, and I'm going, yep, gonna move that thing up. And all of a sudden, voila, ugly baby. Actually, I think the baby looks like the smartest one of the bunch in this one. That's why the baby has this look of horror. Like, oh my God, how did I get born into this family? And now that I've moved up the nose, now the mouth is too low. So it's like, all right. But I have to just, it's like with this kind of work, less is more. Just do the littlest amount of line that you can to suggest it, and then leave it alone. Because especially if you're working small, the more that you work on this, the more it's going to be like, it'll just kind of be like weird, and it wants to be like a full-blown like painting drawing kind of thing. So yeah, and if something looks like it's in the wrong place, you move it. And so one of the things I'm kind of noticing with this baby is that even though the proportions are the same, there's just all these subtle changes that happen with age. And it is true that the plates on their head move around and do all these different things. Now here I'm going to go a little bit off-road and give you some more general pointers about doing the nose. So aside from the, getting that upturned nose where you see the nostrils showing, and trying to get like the underside of it. So just like I said, there it is. That says, so now what I'm going to do is just quickly tackle the profile nose and show you some different varieties. And I'm just kind of drawing a generic head, dividing it into thirds. One thing you want to keep in mind is that the top lip is going to be about 1/3 up. Here I'm doing, and you can see how much this can really change, like depending on what kind of nose you put on. So that first one I did what I call the one that's attached to the head is like a kind of a generic nose that you could go many directions with. Then I'm doing an upturn. Now I'm doing kind of a bigger old man nose, or a little more bulbous nose. As time goes on, our noses are suspect. Gravity pulls our noses down. That's why older people tend to look like they have bigger noses, because they've been literally pulled down by gravity. A little bit more bulbous nose, a little bit of a nose that has a little bit of a ski jump type thing, or more like fine, almost feminine looking nose, a second from the right. And then the one that's all the way to the right is, very curved nose. And you can have a lot of fun. One thing that's kind of helpful too is to think about, like, if there's a little bit of a ball at the end of the nose, depending on the nose, how big or small and what direction that it's pointing, and using that as a way to kind of help guide you where that is. It wouldn't have hurt if I did this with a baby. I've talked about nostrils. If my sister ever gets a hold of this video, I'm in big trouble. She could flare her nostrils really big, and they almost look like you could stick marbles in there. And I don't have that ability, but I can spread my toes really wide. So that's a whole nother lesson. So those are some quick tips to just kind of help you move quickly through this type of drawing, working on your own thing. My challenge to you is, can you take an awkward family photo and do some noses? Have a great day. Thank you for watching.